Hello, DOI Dad here again. Now, updates on our super plan of what we're doing. Something we've really struggled with, and I think that you might struggle with as well if you try to do what we're doing. It's the getting rid of everything. It's incredibly difficult. And I'm not talking about, oh, you just have to get rid of a couple of clothes and some shoes, and you might have to get rid of a couple of books. You have to get rid of every single thing that you've collected through your entire life. I've said this quite a lot. All we're doing is leaving with, hopefully, a bag of clothes each in the van, and that's it. Now, just have a think about all the stuff that's in your house. I mean, it's not the physical things that we're struggling with, like it's not the furniture or stuff that you use on a daily basis. We're not going to miss that stuff. The stuff we're struggling with is like personal items. Now, I've done a bit better than my other half with this, because over the years I've kind of got rid of a lot of personal things, just to try and make my life a little bit simpler. I don't like dragging things around. We've moved houses a couple of times now, and I've sort of, every time I've downsized. But what I did do was buy a load of like old machinery. I had a 1930s sort of Lister generator that literally weighed a ton. It weighed a ton, and I've sold that. And had a little chipper that I was using for some of my business. Chainsaws are all sold. All of these things that to matter to me, or like all this machinery. I had a lathe, so axes, all kinds of things that I like to play with. I've got rid of everything. So my container's empty, the shed's empty, and we're basically now, we've been trying our best. We're sleeping on the floor. All of the furniture is now gone. The last few sort of cabinets have gone. They were collected a couple of days ago. So the only furniture left in the house now is the stuff that the new owners are having. So we do have a sofa bed, which was in the living room. They're going to keep that. So we have something to sit on, and they're going to keep the TV. So these kind of things are things that would just be left behind. But like I said, the things that we're struggling with, it's personal items. Luckily, I've managed to get rid of most of my personal stuff. Some of my dad's stuff I've given to my brother. I've got a twin brother. And we went down there a few months ago, and I left all that stuff with him, because that can stay with him. So it's not stuff I particularly want to disappear, so he can keep hold of that. But there's my other half's got lots of. She liked having paperwork and books and things, so she's struggling to sort of get rid of all of that. That seems to be her thing. And in terms of sort of family items, she's got quite a few family items or memories from her mum when she was alive, and her dad. So those are all going to go into a box, into storage. Someone's going to keep those for us. But it's incredibly difficult trying to get rid of everything you own. I never knew how difficult it's going to be. The idea of doing this is to simplify things, allow us to be together as a family, and go and do some world schooling, and to spend some time with the kids. That's what the plan is. But the journey of getting there is so much more difficult than what I think the end game is. The end game, once we're there, I think we can achieve that. But getting there, it's like extracting yourself out of what is now modern day society, which you could call it a little bit of a prison, to be honest. What's a prison? Having a wage is a prison. Having a house is a prison. And all you get is the odd weekend off. The whole thing itself just acts like it's just I've said, like a big prison where you can't stop work, because then you can't pay your mortgage. If you don't pay your mortgage, you're then out on the streets. And the whole system is set up sort of to keep you that way and keep you paying into it. That's its whole design. And I think there's more people nowadays that are trying to break away from this. But still, the norm in today's society is you go to university, then you have a house, and then you have a family, and your mortgage, and all this kind of stuff. And people just expect it. And you talk to people about it, and they're even aware that this is sort of a little bit of a trap. And yet everyone still does it. Cars are a good example. Second-hand cars are probably worth less than they've ever been. They never used to be. But now, people want to go and buy a new car. So they go and buy their new car on finance. They're not bothered. It's like, oh, it's finance, it's fine. It's just more debt. So you end up with a house debt, a car debt. And some people even buy giant TVs and things. And it's all on finance. And it all keeps you trapped. So luckily, we're not like that. We've always owned things we own. We own both of our cars. They might be older, there might be more repairs, but we own them. We have to make no payments on them. So for us, it's been a little bit easier than I would say. If you're in that situation where your house is mortgaged to the hilt and your car is, and some of the stuff in your house is, that's more problematic for you to sort of try and extract yourself. And I can see why people wouldn't do it. It's so difficult. I mean, today's society, the consumerist society, is set up for you to buy things, constantly buy things, all the time. There's adverts everywhere. If on your phone, every single thing on your phone is an advert. You go outside, you're driving along, billboards, listen to the radio adverts. It's just never ending, the amount of sort of information and adverts that are thrown at us all the time. Here's an example. I was watching Wallace and Gromit with the kids last night. A grand day out where they build a DIY rocket and go to the moon. And I thought, I want some crackers. Oh, I haven't got any. So I drove to the garage to get some crackers. It's kind of advertising, but it's how the mind works. Marketing people are very aware of how the mind works, and they use all of these tricks to make you buy things. But the reality of it all is we don't actually need any of these things that we've got. I mean, if someone said to you, oh, you can go and live in a warm country in a tent, there'll be a shower block, you don't have to work, you can do all your hobbies there, you can live with your family. Some people would go, God no, I'm not doing that. My mindset now, I'd say, oh yeah, I'll do that. Because I don't think it's not a worse way of living. I think the worst thing about modern society is the way we live. It's not only in this country. I think America's got the same problem, and a lot of developed countries have got this problem. We're all prisoners to technology and the cost of it all, the cost of technology. So, people that live in the Caribbean in a hut, they're already there. That's where I think most people would be happier. I've done a bit of travelling before. I've been through Thailand and Laos, and I did the classic motorbiking up Vietnam, a bit like the Top Gear guys did. I did all of that, and I think one of my memories that I remember the most is the first one is actually biking through Vietnam and getting away from the tourist areas and went straight through the middle into the sort of like the agricultural and industrial areas. There were no tourists there. We were the only people in hotels. And they let you park your bike in the foyer. It was really weird, and it didn't cost anything. But it was peaceful. And the second one is I stayed on an island in Cambodia, and we were it was like a reed or thatch hut. And there was another hut that was used as a bit like an eating place, a communal eating place. God, it was peaceful. There was literally the beach, the hut, and some local sort of people that lived there, like fishermen at the end, in a little sort of a little village. And it was so peaceful. It was quiet. It was calm. There wasn't anything to distract you. There wasn't any of this modern day noise that is constantly going on. There wasn't even any. There was no traffic noise. There wasn't any vehicles or anything on that island. It was just a beach and a hut. And I think if you put anybody there, they wouldn't be able to say they didn't slow down and their mind quietened a bit. The modern life is so chaotic. So going back to all the stuff we've got, I mean, when I look around, we've got boxes of books and got a printer here that needs to be sold, laptops, all these kinds of things. We will be taking a couple of our newer laptops, everything, the rest are going. It's the kids' toys. We found that the kids have so many, well, they had so many toys. Their room was it was a mess. You know, trying to get them to tidy up, and it wasn't the fact that they're specifically untidy. It's the fact that they're overwhelmed by the amount of stuff they've got. So quite early on in this journey, what we did was we actually gave away like 3/4 of their toys, stripped their room of most of the toys which they didn't use. And they did exactly what we're doing now. They're going, oh, I can't get rid of that because of this. I can't get rid of that one. I love this one. They haven't played for it for 6 months, but I still need it in my life. You know, it's an attachment to this stuff. And we did. We got rid of it all, and they were happier. Things changed. I mean, Jasmine, my eldest, is ADHD, and I think she's a bit autistic as well. Some of this comes from me. Oops. But also some of it's the environment. I struggle in a really, really noisy, like, if there's too much stuff going on around me, I struggle. I don't like being in... When I was younger, I didn't mind going to clubs and pubs, but as I'm getting older, I go into someone, it's too noisy. I can't hear. I've slightly, because of my job over the years, I think my hearing's not as good as it used to be, due to using saws and chainsaws and things, chippers and machinery all the time. I can't hear people talking over the noise, you know, racket or a din in a club. I just can't. I just can't hear. You know, the differentiate between them and the noise and this. I don't like that kind of environment. I get overwhelmed. I admit that I become overwhelmed with it all. My eldest daughter is exactly the same. If it's too noisy, too many people, she shuts down and she gets really anxious. She doesn't like it. So having too many things in your life like that stresses you out. So why do we do it? And you know, just because you're slightly neurodiverse, it doesn't mean that everybody's not the same. This can happen to anybody. Look at somebody that's not neurodiverse and they've got more stuff you can ever imagine. You know, why would you have a house with 16 bedrooms full of stuff? It's just, you don't need it. It's a weird mindset, because our whole being in this modern society is telling us to gain as much stuff as possible. It's not even a greed thing. It's how a lot of people are brought up. You know, you need stuff. Stuff is important. It's not. Stuff is the least important. The things that are really important are things like family. You know, being time with the kids. And that's a big one for me, because I've been away for work for quite a while now, and I miss the kids, and now I can see how much it's affected them. Now that I've come home, they just want to be with me all the time. I mean, it's a little bit overwhelming for me because I'm not used to this. But they've gone out for half a day today, and they want me to go. They want me to be with them all of the time, to the extent where they want me to be with them when they're falling asleep. And I'm trying to break that habit a bit, because they won't go to sleep unless I sit with them. I don't mind, but you know, you can't sit there for the entire evening. You know, you've got to have some time for yourself and with your partner. So I can already see the difference. We've got about 2 weeks. Well, we don't know, because the solicitors are very, very slow as usual. We're 13 weeks in, and we might, if we're lucky, we might be out in maybe another 2 weeks. We just don't know. So I'm sort of throwing more stuff away, and you know, trying charitying a lot of stuff. So we're getting down to the stuff that is difficult. So we're getting back to that, and we just got to keep in the back of your mind that we're doing this for a specific reason. You've got to look at the end game, but we also have to try and enjoy the journey, because at the moment I haven't enjoyed it up to now, because it is, you know, it's very stressful selling stuff, constantly on the go, trying to sell stuff. So that's basically where we're at now. If I had to, I could take another couple of loads to charity and we could probably leave. That would be good enough. What we're going to end up with is taking some boxes with us, which we'll go through and charity some of it, and some of it will be put into, so, you know, someone's offered a loft for a couple of boxes. So literally the stuff that we really can't get rid of, which is actually like personal stuff from our, you know, our families that have gone, that will go in a couple of boxes and be in a loft. But really, we are going to be really, really limited on what we're going to take. We're still, well, we decided this quite early on. We're going to spend 1 month in the UK, which is going to be the most expensive of all of them because it's coming up to sort of summertime and the holiday period, and it's horrendously expensive. When we were looking for like staying anywhere, we're looking at Whitby area, Northumberland, west coast of Scotland, and where we are around Cumbria, places around there. And even places that aren't even that desirable now have doubled in price since we were looking when we started this because of British summertime. Airbnbs are no longer cheap in the UK. They're really, really not. But we don't really have a choice. We don't have time now to go and find a camper, to go and buy one and sell both vehicles. There just isn't physically enough time, and that's stressful in itself. Buying campers is another level of, it's like vehicle buying squared. It's just, you've got to be really careful. There's so many duds out there. Half the adverts online are fake, and it's really difficult. So what we're going to do, we're going to take both cars. We've got my van, my other half's car. Anything that we haven't quite got round to getting rid of has to fit in those vehicles, which is fine. We'll do that easily. We could even do that now, I think. So we have limited stuff. We're going to try and find somewhere that's relatively cheap. I hasten to say it's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be cheap at all. Somewhere in the UK for a month while we stay here. We've got all the addresses for bank accounts and all of those things, driving licenses. The addresses all need to be changed. So all of that's going to get changed in that month, and then we will sell at least the other half's car. Then we will either keep my van and just go in that for now, or we'll sell the van and we'll find a camper and go in that. It's looking like at the moment it's easier to go into Europe than to fly directly anywhere, purely because of, you know, getting rid of all the stuff which we've talked about. So I think we'll do that first. We've discussed this at length. We don't really agree what we want to do. The other half wants to go further afield first, but I think to get us used to the whole travelling thing, I think what we need to do is to go into Europe for a bit, even if we don't stay there for that long, and then we can have a camper. We can actually park it somewhere in Europe in a safe car park and fly away to somewhere else, and then we've always got that to come back to as a base if we have to. So I think that's a very, very rough idea of what we're going to do. That's the update on our stuff and, you know, the mindset around all this stuff. We've actually done a little free course through. There's a lady called Marianne Kiss, who has her own business, and she helps people their planning through world schooling, and she's been really, really helpful because everything that we've talked about, you know, all the she's aware of all the she's been through this. She had a car full of stuff that she took away with her. Now she doesn't. So, you know, it's every time I'm saying to the half, we need to get rid of more. We need to get rid of everything, and she's agreeing. Said yes, you're going to have to do that. He's right, which is rare. I'm right. So she has been really helpful, and she sort of reinforces the reasons why you're doing all of this and the freedom of it all. Why are we doing this? It's mainly we want freedom. We don't want to be trapped in a society. We want to be independent. We want to have fun. We want to be connected as a family. All these things which currently we're not very good at, and it's an endemic problem in the UK, definitely. So have a think about how would you do this. Look around. Have a look at all the stuff you've got in your house and think, oh my God. I mean, charity shops are even getting picky now. They won't take everything. So it's surprising how much stuff you end up having to actually throw away, and how does that make you feel? the closer we get to this, the more I'm feeling I'm feeling lighter the less stuff we've got. And more excited about the potentials of the travelling and all this kind of stuff. So we'll leave that there. That's an update of where we are at the moment, and I'll keep updating this. And when we've got a date, and it's going to get super real, and we're going to have to go into overdrive with everything. So I'll let you know when that happens. But until that time, we will speak again.